Welcome to PhD&D on YouTube. What's up, everyone? This is another episode of Simply D&D, a series where we take a look at just simple tricks, simple tools, stuff that I'm using to kind of take less time to prepare and run your games, but give you a bigger payout. So making things easier on you, but better on the group as a whole. So today we're going to take a look at the tools of the trade. So I'm set up at a table here. I was going to film it so you could actually see behind the screen, but the camera actually doesn't have enough room, and rather than go through and manage all that, I thought I'd just film it this way for now. So I will show you kind of the tools of the trade. I set up with a Dungeon Master screen, not because I want to hide like dice rolls. Players know that they're welcome to take a look at every roll I do, but more so to separate my stuff from theirs, to organize my stuff, and to hide some notes that I do have for the session from them. So first things first, computer. I have my computer set up. On the left side I have the 5th edition Dungeon Master screen. So the left side I think is NPC creation, like some random stuff for NPCs on the fly. As you know from the last episode in this series, I have a very simple way to make NPCs. And so I've always got a couple on hand. I never really have to roll one up out of thin air. So I put my computer on this side, kind of blocking those charts, but I can easily access those if I do need them by just lowering the screen. Next up, well, first of all, with computer, what do I have a computer for? I'm using the computer mostly to access our wiki pages for the setting, as well as I keep track of like equipment for the players on a spreadsheet that tracks like encumbrance and those things, and then also my Google Drive, which has a lot of other documents. So that's mostly what I'm using the computer for. Now, next up, see if you can hear them, obviously dice. I've got dice, and I'll talk in an upcoming video how I use those for other things, but obviously to roll. You need dice for D&D, and I've got those behind the screen with me, obviously a tool that you want to have. Next up, writing utensils. So as you can see, I've got an eraser and a pencil if I need them. I've got a pen, and then I've got a Sharpie. The pen is for my notebook, you'll see in a second. The Sharpie is for index cards. Index cards can be used to make notes about the session, to write a quest on and then hand to your players, which is really cool, or also to do pretty much anything you need with initiative, those types of things. So that's what I use the Sharpie for. And then, as I said, with initiative, I have my little initiative hangers. Go to the description to see a video on how I do initiative. Next up, 2 card decks. First one, plot twist cards. I use these plot twist cards if the players do something cool, or if they earn one, I hand them, or I show them the deck. They can pick a random plot twist card out of it, and then they can inject that plot twist into the story at any time during the rest of the campaign. They can basically cash that card in to affect the story in some major way. So they can earn these awesome plot twist cards, and they love these. The other deck I have is magic cards. Go to the description to see a cool video that Fistful of Dice did on how to use these in adventure creation, which I sometimes do, but I have a deck sitting by during a game in case momentum drops. If the momentum drops, or you see people are yawning at all, or things are getting kind of boring, you just have a random deck of magic cards, draw a random card, no matter what it is, take something off of it. So the picture, see if you can see this one, the picture, the description, the powers, something. Use something from that card and immediately inject that into the game to bring that momentum back up, or to add something where the players are just kind of blindsided. So I don't use those a lot of times. I have a good group, but they're there as a backup in case I need a quick momentum shift and a quick idea for that. So the 2 other tools that sit behind the screen, one's an iPad. Now iPads are fantastic if you have one, or a tablet. If you have one, use it. Definitely use it. If you don't have one and you can get one, I highly recommend it. They're extremely expensive, especially iPads, so don't go clear out of your way. But if you can have access, or if a player has one you can use while you're DMing, do it for sure. So what I use this for is I pull up my Google Drive again on here, and that's where I've got pictures of NPCs and places. And so the biggest thing that I'll do is I will pull up the picture of the NPC, show it over the DM screen to the players, be like, all right, this is the guy you're talking to. And then I can even hand it to them. So just hand it across. They can pass it around. It makes its way back to me. And they can each get a close look at who they're talking to. the setting or some symbol they see, something like that. That's the number one thing. Number two would be like our critical hit tables and charts and those types of things are saved on here. Digital copies also on my Google Drive. Really, really quick access to anything on the drive on here. So iPad, I love using this. And the last thing that's behind the screen, at least, is the notebook. I talked about this in a previous video, but a little moleskin notebook. I put Witcher stickers on it to make it cooler. But each session gets basically 2 pages for my sessions. This blank side is actually stuff that the players are going to find, like equipment or something. I draw it up real quick so you can see Candler Session 2. There was nothing that they were for sure going to find. The further you go, you never really know where they're going to end up. And so the other side is just session notes, quotes. I always have some quote that some NPC is going to say that's really cool. But yeah, so I've got this behind the screen. Again, the pen, not the Sharpie, but the pen is behind the screen to make notes in here. The pencil and eraser, however, those are just kind of here as backup for players. There's always a player that's short a pencil, and so I just bring those along. When I DM, I've got my setup behind the screen at the table or the edge of the table, and then I've always got either like a TV tray next to me or a chair holding books. And I'll show you what I have when I'm at home. So if I'm DMing at my place, I have access to all my stuff, so I have a bigger stack of books. I've got the 3 core rule books, and actually, to tell you the truth, I don't use the monster manual very much in-game, because what I do is if I know they're going to run into one of these 3 monsters, I will actually just take a picture of that monster page on the iPad so I can pull it up real quick. So if I'm traveling especially, I don't take the monster manual at all. And if I'm at home, I usually have it next to me, but I'm not using it. So I've got the rule books for obvious reasons. Then I've also got Dungeon Crawl Classics. Again, I do not travel with this book. It's huge, but we use some tables in here and some fun things out of this as well. So I've always got this available. If I'm at home, at least. If we're away, I use just different charts online for those types of things. Again, it's fun stuff to have, but when you're traveling, you can't take 30 pounds of stuff with you every time. It's just not feasible. So the other thing that I do travel with or have at home, the Adventure Creation Binder. Again, new video coming out on the good stuff that's in here very soon, but I've always got that next to me. It's not something I access a whole lot during play. It's more, again, for adventure creation beforehand, but it's good to have next to me. It's got a ton of names, like random names in it, and other little tables, things pertaining to the setting and obviously adventure creation. So those are the tools that I have behind the screen, kind of a look at how I run things behind the screen. Again, please go to the description to see how I do track initiative. I will have that video linked down there, as well as the video from Matt on using magic cards to create adventures. It's fantastic. And even if you're going to use them for what I said to use them for in-game, it's still a great video to watch to kind of understand how to use these, to see somebody else using them. So those are the tools of the trade. Those are your Simply D&D tools of the trade, at least at this point. I did a video like this a few years ago showing what I use, so you can also look at that in the description to see kind of how I've progressed or how my methods have changed. But I want to thank you for watching, and please tune in to the next Simply D&D.